What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to our channel, Honest Hockey Takes. Today, we will be talking about our projections for this upcoming NHL seasons. Today, we will be talking about the Pacific Division.
Yeah, so here's how this is going to work today, guys. We're going to start at the bottom with our 8th in the division and work our way up to the 1st. And after that, at the end,
We're going to battle it out because obviously we're not going to agree on everything.
no, I mean, sometimes we agree and it shocks the crap out of me because this guy has some weird takes on things. So we'll get into it now. We're going to give it off to my boy Howin here. He's going to start us off.
Yeah, so at number 8 in this Pacific Division, I have the San Jose Sharks. I feel like the San Jose Sharks are just not good enough, period. They didn't really do anything this offseason. I feel like Mike Greer really didn't do anything. So in the end of the day, I think a lot of people in San Jose knows that this team is in a rebuild. They're kind of like in a retool. They still have Erik Karlsson. They still got Thomas Hertl and Logan Couture and all that stuff. But they did lose Brent Burns. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this team plays out next year. I just feel like it's pretty clear cut that this team is going to be at the bottom. I'm not confident in their goaltending. I'm not confident in their defense. I'm not confident in their depth scoring. So, yeah, unfortunately, the teams ahead are just much better. And I have San Jose at number 8. At number 7, I have the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim Ducks is a very interesting team. I think they're actually a pretty okay team. But at the same time, what I like is in the offseason, they added Frank Vatrano. I like him. I watched him in the New York series. He played really, really well, actually, especially in the conference finals there against Tampa Bay. I thought he played really, really well. But at the same time, they also added Ryan Strome. Good for them. But at the same time, I just feel like this team's not deep enough. It's too bad because I love their goalie. John Gibson is a great goalie. He's a top 10 goalie in the league for sure. Unfortunately, he's playing on such a bad team. I like Trevor Zegras. Obviously, Trevor Zegras is going to be the heart and soul of this team. He's going to be the centerpiece of this team. I really like how he had those highlight reel goals last year. Very exciting player to watch. But at the same time, in terms of winning games, I feel like Anaheim is still at about 7th place. At number 6, I have the Seattle Krakens. Seattle Kraken is actually a very exciting team to watch. I feel like this upcoming season, I love Matty Beniers when he came in the last 9 games of the season. He was pretty much a point-per-game player. Very, very good player. Probably, as of right now, he's the best forward that came out of that draft so far. And he's a very, very fun player. He has such good vision, great passing. It seems like he can just thread that needle to just about anyone on that team. Very, very fun player to watch. Their defense is a little okay. Not really that sold on their defense. But I do like the add of Andre Burakovsky this year. I like the add of Shane Wright. I know Shane Wright is probably going to make the team, and he's going to it's going to be very fun for this team for the future to come with Shane Wright and Matty Beniers centering those 2 lines. So yeah, I also don't expect Grubauer to have such a bad season like he did last year. I feel like his numbers will improve a little bit from last year, but in the end of the day, I have Seattle Kraken at number 6. At number 5, I have the Los Angeles Kings. I know the Los Angeles Kings went to the playoffs last year and they put up a very good fight against the Edmonton Oilers and they almost beat my Edmonton Oilers. But in the end of the day, I feel like the only thing that they really did this offseason was to add Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala is a great player. I had him on my fantasy team last year. He really took off in the second half of the year. But at the same time, this team they have a lot of improving players like Byfield. I don't know if he can take a next step. I don't know a lot about whether Turcotte will make the team or not. Just a lot of question marks around this team. Also, Andre Kopitar is a year older. Philip Deneau is a year older. I'm not sure. And I question the goaltending. I'm not sure Cal Peterson can carry that team to victories. Also not sure whether Drew Doughty can stay healthy for the full season because that's going to be a huge part of the team. But yeah, as of right now, I don't have the Los Angeles Kings making the playoffs. They're at 5th place for me. At number 4, I have the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks is a very exciting team to watch. I feel like they have one of the top 5 goalies in the league in Thatcher Demko. Very, very good goalie. If he's not top 5, he's definitely top 10. But at the same time, they also have, I feel like once Bruce Boudreau took over that team from Travis Green, that team has been winning games, and that team has been far more competitive playing way, and it seems like the players want to play under Bruce Boudreau. A big X factor with this team, and as to why I feel like this team is going to make the playoffs, is particularly Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser. Brock Besser, hard season last season with his death of his dad. I feel like he's going to rebound this season with that behind him, playing a full season under Bruce Boudreau, along with Elias Pettersson playing the full season under him as well, because his numbers significantly improved under him. Also, getting back JT Miller is huge for them. It now gives them more top six. It solidifies their top six. So I really like what this team has done, and I'm excited to see where this team goes. At number 3, I have the Calgary Flames. I have them drop it a little bit, but they're still an extremely good team. I feel like their defense actually improved with the addition of Mackenzie Weegar. I know they lost 2 big pieces, but at the same time, I feel like Brad Sullivan did a good job with what he had, and he was able to get back a very, very good player in Jonathan Huberdeau. This team still has Elias Lindholm, and I love how they added Nazem Kadri, who gives them a little bit more grit, and more importantly, Nazem Kadri plays center, which was so both those players that they lost, Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau, they both play wings. So I feel like having an additional top 6 center really helps the Calgary Flames. So I have Calgary Flames at number 3. At number 2, I have the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers is a really good team. Last year, when I watched this team, they went through a lot of lulls. They went through a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And I feel like this team, they had to learn to play consistently for the full 82 games in order to be the number 1 team. I feel like this team I'm not sold on their right wing with Jesse Puljujarvi and Yamamoto and Warren Fogle. I just don't feel very strong about that. But I do like what they did with adding back Evander Kane and bringing back Kulak, taking out Duncan Keith, and adding in legitimate number 1 goalie for this team, and that's Jack Campbell. I feel like just having Jack Campbell in this team is going to help this team to be more competitive in the postseason. But for this video, we're talking about the regular season. I feel like this team is going to be number 2. And at number 1, I have the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights is a very, very good team. They have, if you look at they had a really bad year last year. They did not make the playoffs last year, but I feel like they're going to make the playoffs this upcoming season. And not only that, but I feel like they're going to finish first. Their team's just too good. They have Jack Eichel playing full-time with this team. They have a new coach. Bruce Cassidy is a very, very good coach. And I feel like their defense is one of the best in the league with Martinez, Shea Theodore, Pietrangelo, and Brayden McNabb. They just have a very good defense core in this team. The only question mark I have with this team is their goaltending. I'm not so sure about their goaltending. I do like Logan Thompson, but I'm not sure if he can carry the load of being the number 1 starter. Their depth on this team is okay, is not the best in terms of the bottom 6, but I do like Nicholas Waugh. I feel like he's a very good signing. I feel like he's a very good player in the number 3 role. And I'm very excited to see, especially excited to see how Jack Eichel does in the full year. But in terms of regular season, I just feel like this team is a little bit better than the Edmonton Oilers. I just feel like the depth of that, the experience of this defense, the veteran presence of this defense, I just feel like they know how to win more consistently than the Edmonton Oilers.
All right, everybody. Let's start at the bottom here. At number 8, I got the Seattle Kraken. Now, I know this team went out and kind of fixed their crappy expansion draft where I thought they really botched it and that they just did a terrible job with picking players from other teams. But this offseason was pretty good to the Kraken. They went and added Bjorkstrand from Columbus, who's been one of their top players over the last 3 years, which I thought was a nice little add, as well as going up in the free agency and getting Andrei Burakovsky from Colorado, defending Stanley Cup champion there. So I do think that they added a bit to their offense. And along with having guys like Matty Beniers, who's a solid Rookie of the Year candidate this year, and honestly, my personal favorite to probably win the award as of right now, as well as drafting Shane Wright, getting him 4th overall, which was honestly a steal considering he started to slide there in that draft, and I thought that was a little crazy to me. But I think he'll make the team, and having him as probably a 3rd-line center to start, and then having Matty Beniers probably start right at the 1st line, I think their future is bright, but just not this year. I don't think that they're going to be able to do too much in this season with that current roster, mainly because they're too young. And coming in at number 7, I have the Anaheim Ducks. Now, this team is kind of in a weird spot. It looks like they almost went out and tried to add some pieces to be contenders for the playoffs. They went out and got Frank Vetrano, who was just on New York in that playoff run that they had, which was amazing, honestly, last year, as well as adding Klingberg to their defense, which I was just in shock. I was like, this team's the team that went and added Klingberg for 1 year? It feels like a rental to me. But, I mean, it definitely does help what they lacked, and that is some offense from the blue line, which this team has really not had. Cam Fowler never really lived up to the billing he was supposed to be as an offensive defenseman on this team. So that should help at least get things going on the back end. But overall, I just don't think this team has enough of almost anything, to be honest. I have them ahead of Seattle mainly because I think Trevor Zegras is that guy, like the guy that can actually take over a game and has that kind of point per game potential in his future. And I think having him paired with Drysdale for their future here, and even for this upcoming season, I think they should do well enough to at least hold off the Kraken and be second last in this division. And at number 6, I have the San Jose Sharks. Now, I know this team is kind of a little bit ridiculous. Honestly, one thing that drives me nuts about this team is they don't know that they're not a playoff team yet. They keep thinking they can still make it, and they don't really ever do a rebuild. This team should have been rebuilding as of years ago, but instead they have to eat Erik Karlsson's $11.5 million contract, and they just signed Hurdle to another 8-point-something million. It seems a little insane to me, but hey, if they want to keep trying to go for it, good for them. That's actually the reason why I don't have them lower than this on the list, is because I know this team and they refuse to go down. They still have their veterans. They still have Couture. They still have Hurdle. And they have Timo Meier, who was absolutely amazing last year. Honestly, I thought he was by far their best player. Now, they did lose Brett Burns, which I would normally say would hurt their team. But honestly, it never worked having Karlsson and Burns on this team together. So I think this is actually going to be good for Erik Karlsson. And we're going to see a real bounce back season for him, because when you had those two players on the same team, the power play was a mess. It was who's going to get this time on the PP1, and then the other guy would got shafted on the PP2, and it was just back and forth, and they never had like a true number one defenseman. And as much as Karlsson has regressed over the years, I do think this will be good for him to be back to a true number one defenseman. Doesn't have a lot of goaltending, but they should be able to score goals. And having rookie William Eklund back in the line here now this year, after his 9-game sample size last year, I think that he's really going to complement their second line. At number 5, I have the Los Angeles Kings. Honestly, I'm a big buyer of the Los Angeles Kings over the next few years, but unfortunately for this year, I think there's 4 teams better than them in this division. And it's not saying that this team in the next 3, 4, 5 years isn't going to be a perennial playoff contender and also eventually a contender to win the Stanley Cup again. But I think they're going to go through a bit of a kind of fallback phase after having a really good season last year, which they surprised a lot of people. Their rookies have not had the best luck with health. Their draft picks in Quinton Byfield and Alex Turcotte have been pretty much constantly concussed and banged up with different injuries over the last year. And it's looking like Turcotte's still not ready to go as of right now. Byfield has not looked like what he was hyped up to be. I know it's early. We can't really cancel a prospect after like 2 years. But he has not lived up to the billing like someone else like Stützle in that draft, or Raymond. And I think that overall, even with the Kevin Fiala ad, which they got in free agency, this team does lack a lot of offensive punch. And I think we're going to see that, especially because there's a lot of teams in this division that know how to score goals. And they don't really have the defense and goaltending to kind of make up for that. Usually if you have a team that has not a lot of offense, they're making up for it because they have a really good, strong back-checking forward group, and then a good defensive core, and a goalie who stands on his head, frankly. But this team really doesn't have that. Cal Peterson did not look like what he was supposed to be. Honestly, Jonathan Quick looked better than him last year, and he's getting up there in age. So I just can't see this team making the playoffs this year ahead of some of these other guys. And coming in at number 4, I have the Vancouver Canucks. Honestly, I think the Canucks had a pretty good offseason. Adding Andrei Kuzmenko is a bit of a wild card, because when you have a player coming from the KHL, you never know what you're going to get. You could get a Kaprizov, and you could get a Gusev. So hopefully the first one and not the latter for the Vancouver's sake. But I will say that this team, looking at their lines, they have a really strong forward group. They have 3 lines that can score, and I think as long as the chemistry is there, this team's going to have no problem competing for a playoff spot and actually doing a lot better than last year. With Demko in net, he looks amazing. Honestly, at this point, I know it might be early, but I would consider him a top 5 goalie in the league. He's just been so rock solid. And every time I watch this guy, he's standing on his head for this team with maybe not the most defensive help at times. The defense is clearly the weak spot here and the reason that I don't have them higher on my list. But I do think they'll be able to score 3-4 goals a game. And even if they're getting 30, 35 shots against, I believe in Demko's ability to keep this team in the games that they're struggling with. Coming in at number 3, I have the forgotten about Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I know last year they were everyone's pick to basically win the division. There was no way this team wasn't going to be the best in a weak Pacific division that everyone thought was going to be like a landslide victory. But then the injury bugs came, and this team was really banged up. They basically played without Mark Stone for most of the year, and then Jack Eichel had to have his surgery for his back, and it was just all around a giant mess for this team. But you know what? I think they've heard the voices of people and all the hate, and I think they're ready to have a really big, strong rebound season. I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas challenges for even higher on this list, but because I don't know necessarily the injury status year-long for guys like Mark Stone, who's an absolute warrior, I can't put them any higher than 3 on my list right now. I do see them getting back to the playoffs, though, and I think that having Thompson in net instead of Leonard, a lot of people are freaking out because Robin Leonard's going to miss the rest of this season, whereas I see it as almost like not a bad thing because I thought Thompson played amazing last year, and in some ways he might honestly be an upgrade. And at number 2, I have a team that had, quite frankly, the weirdest offseason I've seen in a long time, and that is the Calgary Flames. This team had a huge overhaul of their top-tier talent. They ended up losing Matt Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau, one through free agency, the other just did not want to be there. And I just commend this GM. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to make the team pretty much as good, if not debatably better than it was before. The trade for Tkachuk, getting Huberdeau back, given that he wanted out, is just simply amazing to get that kind of a return. The guy who was second in the entire league in points last year and just excellent playmaker for years. I think that's going to be automatic. Their first line is going to be pretty solid, just having him playing with Lindholm there. And then signing Kadri late into the offseason was something special. Sure, they had to pay a lot to get him, and that might bite them down the road. But for this season, I see this offense being pretty respectable. And honestly, I think in some ways, their two-way play for their forwards just got better as well. Along with having Mackenzie Weegar, who might now be their number 1 defenseman, added on in that Huberdeau trade. I just think that this team with Markstrom in net is going to be too solid all around to not be in the playoffs and to not be number 2 in this division. Oh dear, I can't believe I have to say this because this makes my stomach a little sick. But at number 1, I have the Edmonton Oilers. And honestly, I am really not an Oilers fan. And it actually makes me slightly ill. Like, this is physically giving me some heartburn here. But I think that the Edmonton Oilers will finish this season atop the Pacific Division. This team is just, it feels like it's their year to make a pretty good run and at least make a ton of points in the regular season. I mean, they might still lose very early in the playoffs. It would be a very Oiler thing to do. But having Connor McDavid there, along with Leon Draisaitl, as well as having Evander Kane there, he's probably going to score 40, 45 goals this year playing along Connor. And that offense can't be stopped. So I can't really see this team not winning this division this year. It just feels like their year, and it makes me sick. Wow. Okay, I'm actually disgusted. You know what this is?
What?
This is me, number 1 Oilers hater against an Oilers fan, and I have to argue with you now about how the Oilers are going to be first, and you think they're not first. So now I have to talk this team up to you, which sickens me because I absolutely despise it. I swear you did this on purpose. I swear on purpose. You said, well, I'll take Vegas first, so then Scott has to prove to me that my team, the Oilers, is number 1. Ha ha ha. I swear you did that on purpose. There's no way you didn't.
To be fair though, the top is, I just feel like a lot of people have Edmonton as number 1, and usually that's not always the case. Edmonton's a good team, obviously. We have them top 2, but I feel like Vegas played with a lot of injuries last year. Like, you look at that team. That team almost made the playoffs with like Mark Stone almost out the whole year. They didn't have Max Pacioretty for almost the whole year. They just had a lot injured. Leonard didn't play almost the whole year, and when he did play, he played terribly. So that's why I agree with like
Oh,
Logan
I
Thompson.
definitely think they're going to bounce back for
Yeah,
sure.
Logan Thompson is going to be an improvement actually, I think, because at least he was able to play some games last year, and we can see that he's actually pretty good. Especially that one game that
But-
really caught my eye with the Vegas Golden Knights was that game against Dallas Stars. I thought Logan Thompson played on his head.
Oh no, I love
in that
Logan
game.
Thompson.
Yeah.
I think for a young kid, he's a great goalie.
Yeah.
But you really think that he's going to last a full test of time for the whole season
I'm not
to
sure
be that
about
good?
that. I'm not sure about
he's
that.
He's probably going to have to be close to a 35 win goalie if they're going to be first in this division. You know that, right?
Yeah, but I'm excited to see. I like that defense though. That defense is better than Edmonton's.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
I mean, and believe me, trust me, I would love to. This is
Yeah.
one time I can actually say this. I would love for this man to be right about this, because if Edmonton is first, I am going to hear about it from so many people, and I can't handle that. Like, it actually, it physically enrages me. So I'm hoping he's right, but I don't think so. I think that Oilers offense and the chemistry they built last year with Hyman on that second line there, and
Yeah.
then having
Kane.
McDavid with Kane is
Yeah.
just too lethal.
Yeah.
And even if Campbell's a little upgrade from Smith, I think it's going to be a massive
The
difference.
biggest question mark I have with the Oilers also is the right wing. I never was a fan of that right wing.
Oh, well, they're terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, they're bad. Yamamoto's not special.
He's not special,
No.
but he does play hard. I give him that.
Yeah, he's
But-
chippy little guy. But
he's
honestly, for the regular season, all he's going to have to do is somehow fight for a puck and get it towards one of those star centers.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to do something with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the one thing is, I will give you this. I can't believe now I have to try to argue against myself because it's the Oilers. But I mean, I know that defense is nowhere compared to Vegas's defense. Like, it's not even close. Not even in the same stratosphere.
no.
But I don't know if they're going to need it, because if, like I said earlier, in the regular season, it's less about the defensive game.
Yeah.
Whereas the playoffs is more about, and trust me, I don't think they're going to win this cup and like be great in the playoffs, but we're saying regular season standings here. And I just think that their game of, hey, we're going to try to score more goals every game. We're going to try to get 5-6 goals. And if we allow 3 or 4, it's okay. Like, whatever. We'll suck it
Yeah,
up.
they usually try to outscore.
Yeah,
what
they try to
lead.
outscore their
Yeah.
opponent rather than
Yeah.
just play a sound game and win 3-2 or 2-1.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
I just think that's going to be too much for a lot of teams, especially in that division. Like, if you have Edmonton playing a team like Seattle or Anaheim, they're going to have no chance. They're going to get pumped.
How do you think Jack Eichel's gonna do this upcoming season though?
I think he's going to want to show people, because a lot of people were against him,
Right.
and a lot of people basically said, this guy sucks. Like, every time I see a list now, and this actually kind of almost pisses me off a little bit, because I'm not a Jack Eichel fan by any means, but I mean, people like forget that this guy was like a top 20 player.
Yeah, he's a good
And
player.
now you see this list where it's like NHL.com releases their top list, and they're like top 50 players, and Jack Eichel's like somewhere in the 40s or something,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, that's too high. He's not top 50. I'm like, what? He's
No.
not top 50? If this guy's healthy, he's clearly top 30.
I'll tell you this. To me, he's better than Matt Barzal.
Yeah, he probably honestly
Yeah.
is. Not by a lot. Not
No,
by a
he's a
lot.
lot
But
better
he
in my
is a little
mind.
better. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, this guy is now getting treated like he is like a third-class citizen.
Yeah.
Like, and he's not that bad of a hockey player.
No.
Like, that's why I think the team will be better. Because if Stone and him are healthy, that team's pretty good. Which is why I had them third.
And that's why I have them first.
I don't think they're that good. Like, I think
Like,
they're good, but I don't
Mark
think they're that good.
Stone, like if he can play like 65 games, I like their chances.
Yeah, but last year, I mean, they didn't even make the playoffs. So I think we should pump our brakes a little bit on how high they get up this year. It's not like their team got any spring chickens in here. They're kind of aging.
I feel like now I'm also really curious to see how this new coach does as well. I feel like it's gonna refresh this team a little bit.
Can't be worse than last year. Honestly, this team will be better than they were last year.
And keep in mind, I also really like one player that not many people talk about. I like Chandler Stevenson. I just like him.
Yeah, bittersweet because he used to be a Capital, but
Oh.
yeah, it kind of hurts
but I
a little
like
bit.
him.
Yeah, he didn't do that for us. He wasn't playing that good for us. Just
Yeah.
saying. Now he's playing good.
And also, William Karlsson had a bad down year, right?
He did.
I expect
He
him
did.
to be a little bit
Oh,
better.
he was like invisible, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, other than March or so, their offense was so bad last
Yeah,
year.
I expect
he was
him-
like the one guy playing good.
Yeah, I expect him to come back alive a little bit this year. So
Well, here's to hope that for once he's right, and I can actually say that.
Yeah.
But one thing that actually might have even got me more on your list than that was seeing you have Seattle at 6 and the San Jose Sharks at 8 with the roster that they haven't really tried to blow up or like sabotage. It's pretty much the same core minus a couple guys that they had from like 3-4 years ago when they were running for the cup.
I just feel like the team's old.
They are old. But they also are getting an influx of young talent too. Timo Meyer is very young still, and he looked so good last year, along with William Eklund.
Yeah,
William Eklund is going to change that team's offense.
Eklund's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see him play. But Timo Meyer's a very interesting one, actually. When you brought him up, he had a very terrific year last year. But the couple years before that, he was horrible. Like,
He was.
horrible.
He had a great rookie year.
Yeah.
And then he had 2 bad years.
Very
but
bad
then
years.
he really came back last year, like with a vengeance.
Yeah, we'll see if he can keep that up.
This guy was over a point per game player before he got hurt. Like,
Yeah, we'll see if he can keep...
I don't really see this team not being able to score. I think look at Seattle's problem last year. They were one of the worst. Actually, they were the worst goaltending.
Oh, they were
last year.
the worst goaltending.
Grubauer was so bad, dude.
Yeah.
He looked terrible.
This is why I feel like, like a little nice story. Like, Grubauer has to look at himself in the mirror and it's like, wow, I played like crap. I got to play better.
Oh, you think it's just going to work like that? He's just like, I got to be better today.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works in the
Yeah,
NHL. No.
his wife probably slapped him this summer.
It's just like, psh,
yeah, it's
smart
like,
enough.
why you play so bad?
Yeah? I'm sure that's how it went down, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's going to wake him up a little bit.
Hey,
He's
man,
like,
you don't believe in James Reimer?
Huh?
You don't believe in Optimus Rhyme?
No.
Okay, neither of these teams have good goaltending, but I'm going to bet on the offense of the Sharks over the offense of the Kraken any day, even with the new ads.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, we're not even close. Dude, Hurdle could score 40 potentially. Meyer could score 35. This team has offense. That's one thing you
outside
can
those
say.
two, who else? Myers and Hurdle.
Okay.
Who else you got? Couture?
What defenseman, even though he's not the same as he used to be in Ottawa, what defenseman do they have that can keep up with a guy like Erik Karlsson in production?
Vince Dunn?
Okay. No. I got to get straight face here, straight face. Vince Dunn.
Hey man, this guy got me extra points in FanDuel. Come on, man.
This guy sounds like he's regretting his choice already. He's like,
Yeah.
just, you see like the
You know
sweat
what?
coming down.
You know what? Actually, after hearing your take a little bit, I have to actually start to like sway
Reconsider
a little
that
bit.
Seattle.
Seattle.
You may have been a little high on the
Maybe,
Seattle breaks.
yeah.
You think?
I like how this San Jose Sharks team never
They just
they never
they're
recognized
like,
the rebuild.
we don't care if we haven't made the playoffs for years.
Yeah.
We're not rebuilding.
Yeah.
And Erik Karlsson doesn't want to play for a rebuilding team, so he's like, no,
Yeah.
we play now.
You know
we
what?
play to win.
I just feel like they're so stuck with this Erik Karlsson contract that you have to try to retool rather than rebuild every year. They just have to try to add scraps to this
Well, the
team.
guy's getting $11.5 million.
Yeah, they can, and no one teams want that contract, so it's tough for San Jose. They're in a bad position.
They're honestly, like, I hate to say it, they're pretty screwed for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do to eat that contract. They're probably going to have to eventually trade him away and accept the rebuild and
Yeah.
take like what, 50%?
Retain 50%, yeah.
retention?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like build through guys like Eklund, who's actually really good, and try to do stuff
We
with
saw
that.
him we watched him in
Yeah,
Red
we watched
Deer.
him. We got to see him live in Red Deer, and he looks
Amazing
great.
player.
He's quite a playmaker, honestly. I think that he's going to add a lot there for them.
Even the games he played in the beginning of the season last season for them, I thought he played pretty well. I was
did.
surprised he got sent down.
Yeah, it was odd, but I guess, hey, they didn't, you know what? I like it because they didn't burn a year of his contract, and that team's not going anywhere soon, so it's probably good that they waited. So it's not bad.
Yeah, but other than that, I think actually this video too, somehow we
Yeah,
agreed.
this is too much agreement for the most part, especially with, I didn't think that you'd have Vancouver exactly where I had Vancouver, making fourth and being in the playoff run.
Vancouver is a good team.
They are a good team.
Yeah,
I think
especially
they're
when
gonna be
Bruce
solid.
Boudreau took over that team, he transformed
night
that
and
team.
day.
Night and day.
Like,
it just shows how bad Travis Green was.
Travis Green was pretty brutal. Other than the cup or that one run they had to the second
Against
round.
Vegas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
against Vegas, game 7.
I thought
That was more Demko. That was more Demko. Demko carried
Demko got
that
them
team.
there. He
Yeah,
got
yeah.
there by fluke. Come
Yeah,
on, it's Demko.
that was
It's not
crazy.
Travis Green. Travis
No,
Green didn't do anything.
No, it wasn't.
He just
Travis
sat there and watched.
Green. Pretty
He's
much.
like, oh, what did I do? Besser, you want to go play? Oh, go play.
Just do stuff, guys. Like,
Yeah,
get
just
out
do
there
stuff. I'll
and,
be here.
make it work.
Demko, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Wow, you made 46 saves today. Good job, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
That's what it was like. He was
stood on
making
his
like
head.
45, 50 saves.
Yeah, I'm like, you can't win. You can't consistently win like that.
No,
Come
it was
on.
wild. And I don't think, like, he'll have to be good this year for them to be that good. But I don't think he's going to have to be that much of a hero. Because the team's got offense. They can score goals.
They can score goals.
Pedersen will be better. Mark
Way
my words.
better.
Pedersen's going to have a career year.
I
guarantee it.
At least 80 points.
Yeah, he will
At least
definitely
80
have
points.
a career year. As long as he's not injured, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Locked.
Definitely the most fun player to watch on the team, personally.
Yeah, for me too. It's the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
I mean, there's a couple other players. I can't wait to see the Russian kid. I can't wait to see Kuzmenko. because
Yeah.
you never know what you're going to get from the KHL. It
Yeah.
could be horrible.
Could be Panarin.
Yeah, it could be a great player like that.
Or
could be
it
a
could
complete
be,
bust like a Gusev.
Gusev.
Yeah, it could be a Gusev. Or Zykov, the guy who Vegas got like 4 years ago, no one remembers because he didn't play a game, basically. Like, he played like 3 games and left.
Yeah.
So you never know. But, yeah, overall, not too much to argue about. I mean, hopefully you're right about the Oilers Vegas one, but knock on wood here. But, yeah, I think that concludes our episode here.
Yep. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and make sure you comment on this video, and we will see you guys in the next video.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.